right, let's give it a spin. Have you seen this hand before? This was on day 2.
I did. I watched it.
Yeah. Let's take the hand from the start. Jennifer Tilly raises in early position. I call with pocket deuces on the bottom, and Luan calls from big blind.
I really like calling here on the button with deuces, and not only with the hopes of like, if I flop a deuce, I'm good. Like, you can represent a lot of stuff too. You should be looking for excuses on the button to play hands, and any pocket pair for a standard open is definitely worth it.
Yeah, many of my hands I play is on the button, but I call and boom, jackpot. Pretty good at least. 9 deuce king with 2 hearts. Jennifer bets out 5 grand. I raise to 17. Would you have done about the same sizing, or?
When you do raise, you got it. Like, what I would be thinking of, what nuthead hands am I representing, and what bluffs do I have? Right? So the nutted hands are the hands like you have pocket deuces, pocket nines, king 9 suited, maybe king deuce suited if you're loosey-goosey, right? Those are your value, right? So the bluffs are actually quite strong hands too here. Your bluffs might look like ace deuce of hearts, queen 10 of hearts, just a random jack 10 of diamonds that has a back door. So your sizing choice here, I like it. On a board like king 9 deuce, 5K to you made it 17. I like the size a lot. The point is, like, you got to be thinking about, if I never have bluffs here, should I raise? Like, if the board was king 9 deuce rainbow, I don't think you should raise that often. I think you should just call. Like, if you had king jack, are you going to raise the flop? Nah. If you have a 9, you're going to raise the flop? Nah. So really, you're basically saying I have a set and you don't have enough bluffs. Because the flush draw is present, I like raising more than if it's not.
All right. I raise and boom, she comes over the top with 50 grand, which is quite a big 3-bet, I'd say.
It's just a huge mistake.
In my book, I had 2 options. Go all in or call. If I'm up against kings or nines, then so be it. I know the commentators for High Stakes Poker say, Kim should go all in here.
If Kim's been paying attention to how Jennifer's been playing, he would move it all in right now. I don't think she's getting away from it.
But in my book, it wasn't so standard because I feel I push her away from a lot of hands.
I will say this. There's very few spots in poker. There are some that are basically indifferent, where it doesn't even matter what you do. Like, if you call or you go all in, it's probably going to have about the same expected value in the long run. You know, I like calling better just in case. Like, just in case she's doing something goofy with like ace 9. And if she is, and you go all in, she's folding and you don't get the value. Whereas if she does catch a 9 or an ace on the turn, or decides she wants to go crazy and bluff, you allow her to do so. And there's not a lot of risk giving a free card here, because you're not. There's no hand that she would really have here that she's going to like fold if you would jam. If she has a flush draw, she's getting it in. There's no added value in going on the flop. So I much prefer your choice. Maybe now she puts you on a draw and she's going to protect a hand like a king. Whereas, let's say extreme example. Let's say she decides that if you re-raise me on the flop, I'm folding this king. Then you've made a huge mistake. Whereas she says, okay, if he just calls here, I'm going to put him on a flush draw. And if a flush doesn't come, I'm going all in. Now you get all the value and you print. So overall, you made the play that was much better than calling, actually.
I appreciate you think so, because I thought about it. Like you say, I would squeeze her away from so many hands where she might be checking where she's at, whilst I was hoping if she had a pair like she did or something similar, that she could improve on the turn. Turn comes the 4 of hearts, which I don't love.
Any heart for you is a bad card. Having the deuce of hearts helps a little bit because it blocks ace deuce of hearts or any sort of funky deuce whatever flush draw. And it also now, like, say if she did have pocket kings or pocket nines, which had you dead, now all of a sudden, you actually have outs. So it's a bad card overall, but it could be worse.
Yeah, but she checks. I feel I'm ahead. I thought maybe she has something like ace king with ace of hearts, or king queen with the queen of hearts. I thought those two were more likely than king jack with the jack of hearts. I felt like, all right, if I put in a bet here, she might feel pot committed for a river.
No,
do you like my line, or would you rather check it down? Or the commentators said shove.
Because of the specific opponent you're against, like, what you did is fine. But if you were up against a really good player, a pro is never going to 3-bet you on the flop with ace king with the ace of hearts. They're never going to do what she did. It is not a good play on her part. If you were up against a really top player, I think betting here would be a mistake. I think checking is the correct play, and then, evaluating on the river. But if you are going to bet, betting how much you did against specifically her as an exploit, I think your bet is a really good play.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just feel that if she had the flush, she would just go for it.
But against a really top player, if you bet this turn and they call, the hand that they have is a flush, or they have you beat with a set. So you're really dead either way.
But I get your thought process with that, but I don't think it makes sense to turn a set into a bluff. But if I would have the feeling that they would have pocket nines or pocket kings.
Fold that hand anyway. Yeah, she's not folding that hand. Yeah.
Yeah, so I bet 50K, she calls. And the river is the jack of spades. I was very happy because I figured there could be a lot of hearts with something in her range. And as of the hand she had, this is the best river for me. She makes 2 pair, which makes it even harder to lay down. If I would sit with something like king 9, she checks. I have 78k behind.
You know, it's always important to think about poker in terms of what is the most optimal play and then what do I adjust to. Now, Jennifer, of course, she has an interesting hand because, of course, she has the king and the jack. The jack is kind of irrelevant. It only helps against the king 9. I guess the bigger question for her and what she was thinking about is, I have the jack of hearts. I'm blocking queen jack of hearts, jack 10 of hearts, ace jack of hearts, and these kind of things. And I think that is what sways her to call. She's also at this point getting a really good price, and she doesn't know what kind of crazy Scandi you are.
I'm unpredictable today. There are chances we're gonna get into arguments.
You might just show up with like 6, 7 of spades. I think as played, she has to call and you have to value bet because, you know, the situation was unique. The big mistake I think she makes in the hand is 3-betting the flop. But once she did that, I think the hand played kind of as it needed to.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And if she had just called my raise to 17, when the 4 of hearts comes on the turn, she checks, I would check back. But as played, when she makes it 50, I thought she had ace king or king queen. I was leaning towards ace king with maybe the king of hearts.
Generally speaking, this is, I guess, an important lesson for you. On a king 9 deuce in this spot, you really don't need to ever have, especially with the stacked depths, ever have a 3-betting range, which is what she did. You can call always. You can call with your pocket kings, call with your 9s, call with your flush draws, all the hands that you could possibly have there. You don't need to re-raise with. And I think she just wanted the hand over. I have top pair, get out. You know, it wasn't really thinking on a very deep level about how her range.
I agree with you in that sense. Well, I went all in, and the interesting part about this was a $367,000 pot. My biggest pot before that. Well, I was making a living from poker, so I called that professional, but my biggest pot was like 30k.
Yeah, that's
so I almost got a heart attack at the table. I've been lucky. I started with 100, grind it up a little bit, and then go all in with it. I really love the guys at Poker Go, and I thought it was super fun to be a part of it.
Definitely, yeah, it was a good show, and like you, I look forward every Monday seeing the new episodes.
Yeah, and you're gonna be in a banger.
It's gonna be a hand that everyone talks about. It's myself, Patrick Antonius, and Phil Ivey in a 3-way pot, and it's bonkers.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting hand.
Worthy. I've analyzed the hell out of his hand.
From watching you in the challenge and seeing you bluff me in a spot, I was like, he's never gonna bluff me. Then I see that you actually bluffed me, and then I was impressed. And also, everyone, make sure you check out Daniel Negreanu on YouTube. There are some very big hands from High Stakes Poker on his YouTube. And if you don't have the Poker Go subscription, go get it now. It's worth it.
Totally agree.